Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Winners and Winers Radio. I am your host, Scott Steen, lead handicapper at Winners and Winers. And I, of course, am joined by my co-host, the one, the only senior handicapper at winnersandwiners.com. It is Mr. Scott Reichel. Scott, happy Tuesday. How are you, sir?
Doing pretty well. Honestly, I can say that the baseball card has not been too kind to me over the last couple of days. But either way, pretty entertaining night in sports. You had a pretty thrilling game in hockey. So we actually have more hockey to talk about, thank God.
That's right.
And other than that, we got baseball to talk about. And I don't think there's any other important events, right? There's no basketball being played. Oh, wait a second. There is. The NBA Finals starts tomorrow. So, yeah, we got a lot to talk about on the card.
We do, Scott. And I had an equally bad night as far as baseball picks go. Not good at all. But it was kind of offset by the fact that I had a surprise birthday party for me tonight with probably 30, 40 people there that some of them I hadn't seen in a very long time. So
just for the people at home, was it officially your birthday today? Were they late? Were they early?
Early. My birthday is actually Friday.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a little bit early. That's what made it surprising, Scott. And my family was all in on it. My daughter flew in from Oklahoma. They were worried that they had somehow given it away, that I'd figured it out. I had none of it figured out, not one bit. So
they gave you too much credit.
They gave me way too much credit. I was not able, just like the rest of my handicapping today. It was not good. I did not have the surprise party for me. I believe the odds on that were 17-1. And
I think it takes the Pirates about 3 weeks to score 11 runs, and I bet against them once, and they scored 11 straight runs.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yep. Braves put up 1 in the first and then did absolutely nothing for the final 8 innings, exactly the way I drew it up.
Absolutely. Of course, I had on my premium, I had the Miami Marlins and the Dodgers under, with Buehler going up against Trevor Rogers. And they both suck, Scott. So that was a lot of fun. And just one of those things. So you know what? Let's get the show rolling, Scotty. We got a lot to talk about, a lot of things going on. We've got 4 sports to talk about today, Scott. We got baseball, we got basketball, we got hockey, we got soccer.
We don't have games in all of them because hockey, of course, is taking the day off tomorrow. But we're going to talk about it from a variety of angles.
That's right. Yeah, we're going to talk about all that. So let's get to it. But before we do, Scott, we've got to remind everybody that, of course, this is Winners and Winers. It is Winners and Winers Radio, the one, the only winnersandwiners.com. They are the #1 site in the world for predictive sports analysis. And each day you should stop by there and get the latest information as far as line movement, weather, injuries, all that stuff that factors into your decision-making when you're making your plays. Do well to stop by and check out winnersandwiners.com. Full previews and predictions into every game, every single day, always 100% free. And, of course, they are our sponsor here at Winners and Winers Radio. Winners and Winers Radio, you give us an hour, we'll give you the winners. So without further ado, let's find out, Scott, who wasn't a winner today, who had a game where everything was going well. You're looking at that ticket, making sure you got the right pick. Everything is going along swimmingly. And then, Scott, some sort of speed bump, some sort of mountain, some sort of horrible thing happens that you did not see coming. All of a sudden, that ticket is a worthless piece of paper in your hand. And you know what? There's nothing you can do, Scott. There's nothing you can do except call the cops. A game stolen, Scott. Stolen. Let's talk about Phillies Cubs, shall we? You had the under 11. They're in pretty good shape. Cubs, by the way, they suck, so might want to make a note of that. But these two teams, it's 6 runs going into the 8th inning. 6 runs, Scott. That 11 looked like a pretty stupid number at that point, as you are well on your way to a victory if you had the under, except both bullpens were dreadful, especially the Cubs bullpen, as they combined to give up 10 runs in the last 2 innings. I believe the Cubs put up 8 of them, Scott. I believe that the Phillies put up 8 of them, Scott. Isn't that right? 5 and 3 in the 8th and 9th?
I believe so.
It could have been 6 and 3. I can't remember, but yeah, it was not pretty, and it was pretty much all the Cubs bullpen fault. They have now lost, I believe, 10 straight. Congratulations, as the Cubs lose that one 13-3.
It was 9 runs, by the way, by the Phillies.
9 runs.
Yep.
Very nicely done, Phillies. Well done indeed. So if you had the under 11, you weren't even close. Wasn't even close. And you going into the 8th, You didn't think it was going to be close, and you were right, except it was just the wrong way. 13-3, that makes 16. That's way more than 11. If you had the under, you can call the cops.
So, looking at the other call the cops, it was in baseball. If you had the Cleveland Indians on the money line at plus 175, you were in pretty good shape. You're up 1 run going into the bottom of the ninth. And if you want to talk about Cleveland's closer, and Emmanuel Clase, one of the best in the league, sub-2 ERA, it's also kind of interesting because he was one of the snubs from the AL All-Star team over the last day or two. So you assumed maybe he might be a little bit motivated, prove some people wrong, and that was not what happened. Gave up 2 runs in the ninth. Tampa walked it off, and to make matters worse, Cleveland was down 4-0 early, came all the way back, took an 8-5 lead, and then gave up 4 runs in a row, including 2 runs in the ninth with a borderline all-star closer on the mound. That's pretty brutal, especially at plus 175.
Not a great day for Tampa. The baseball team won, yay, but of course the Lightning did not, and neither did the city of Tampa with their mayor. We're going to talk about that in just a minute, too. I'm already laughing about that one, Scott. I can't wait to get to that one. But first, we've got to talk about one more game. That's Cardinals-Giants, under 7.5. Man, if you were on this one, you were dialed in. 0 runs through the first 6 innings, Scott. You were looking golden, as good as you could look, as a matter of fact. They did manage to scrape out 4 runs in the next 2. But you're still just sitting at 4 going into the 9th inning. Just no shenanigans. Nothing there stupid. Yeah, that's not exactly how it happened. Cardinals scored 2 in the top of the 9th. Giants scored 2 in the bottom of the 9th. The game ends 5-3. If you had Cardinals-Giants under 7.5, you took it in the shorts by a half a run, and you can call the cops.
I'm sure there was somebody somewhere watching the game who just watched 6 innings of no-hit baseball by Gausman, and then you start to watch a little bit of the 7th, and suddenly you have something else to do, and you just start, I don't know, mowing the lawn or something, and you come back and just go, what happened? How did they score 8 runs? Why did I lose? There's somebody who definitely had that happen to them today.
I really liked Gausman in that spot, too.
He pitched well. He ended up struggling a bit in the 7th, but when you go 6 no-hit innings,
right,
and you still end up, A, losing, and B, the game somehow going over, that you kind of go left scratching your head after that one.
Yep. You just take it and you move on. That's all you can do. So the opposite, of course, call the cops. It's a segment where you had the nice, easy winner, where you had the under and they had no runs through 6, and they added 1 more run. Things like they should happen, Scott. These are the nice, easy gains, the nice, easy wins, the ones where you can just basically take a nap and do something else while the game is on. These are the rocket chair.
So the first one was on a game that I actually talked about on the air yesterday during the brief MLB breakdown. Talked about the Tigers on the money line at plus 145 against the Rangers, and that was very easy. Willie Peralta absolutely dealing once again. Tigers, meanwhile, led 6-0 after the 6th inning, led 7-0 after the 9th inning. Bullpen gave up a couple of runs in the bottom of the 9th, but when you're up 7, you can afford to give up a couple, and the Tigers ended up winning 7-3. Willie Peralta, is he randomly a trade chip for a team that's trying to compete?
No, he's
not at all.
No, what do you got? 5 more starts for the trade deadline?
Just saying, there's a chance maybe a team like the Dodgers or somebody might look for a desperation number 5 guy.
I mean, when you say Willie Peralta was dealing again, you mean like for the 3rd time in 5 years?
Correct, but his ERA this season, 2.14, so far,
but that's
so good.
His 3rd start?
I believe
start?
so.
Yeah, he hasn't made very many starts. But
I'll tell you what, though, he's had 3 better starts than you and me thought he was going to have.
Very true. That's very true. Willie Peralta, he's a guy to watch, an arm to watch, and you're going to be catching a good price on him. I guarantee it. You're getting the Tigers. You're getting plus money every time he pitches. Certainly worth looking into as long as he keeps this up.
Well, that's why I liked Detroit yesterday, because Texas, under no circumstance, I said, should be laying 160, and they should not have been laying 160.
Nope, not at all. Scott, if you had the Pirates on the money line, again, God bless your optimism. You are a diehard fan. Or maybe you just thought it was an advantageous spot for the Pirates because you're getting plus 175 against the Braves. Man, that seems like a tough road. And, of course, it was. The Braves, Scott, jumped out, took an early lead, 1-0 first inning. Pirates, They had a little bit of an answer for that one run as they reeled off 11 straight. The Braves said, you know what, we thought one run would do it, so we're done. And they scored no more. Pirates ended up winning this one 11-1. If you had Pirates plus 175, you got a nice price, and you had a rocket share.
I guess the silver lining was the fact that my Braves run line bet would have lost anyway if the Pirates scored no runs, because they didn't even score 2 runs, so they couldn't even cover the run line.
Tough to cover the run line when you don't score 2.
I heard somewhere that 2 wrongs make a right, so maybe losing the game outright and not scoring enough to cover the run line in the first place. Maybe that's greater to a winner somewhere. Who knows?
You know what else makes a right, Scott?
What?
3 lefts.
Yes, I did hear that.
All right. Got a final one?
Yeah, looking at the last one, you had the Dallas Wings taking on the New York Liberty Bibberty. And if you had the over 166.5, it was a nice, easy winner there. 56 points in the first quarter, 52 points scored in the fourth quarter. Sounds like an NBA playoff game, except they played 10-minute quarters there in the WNBA instead of 12. Game ended up landing in the 190s. So if you had over 166.5, really never in doubt.
192 it ended, or 195 rather. Sorry.
For a WNBA game, that's a lot of points.
That's a lot of points for 40 minutes of basketball. I don't care who's playing.
Yep.
I don't care if, Gonzaga and Baylor are playing. 195 is a lug for 40 minutes.
You know it's a good sign for an overbetter when the Liberty make 13 of 14 shots in the first quarter?
That is a good sign.
It's a good sign.
That is a good sign for your over indeed. So if you had the Wings Liberty over 166.5, well, for starters, you're a degenerate. So.
I'm sorry, the Wings and what? What's the other team?
Liberty?
You mean the Liberty Bibberty?
Can't do it.
You can't do it? That's my joke. I got to run with it.
That's just your joke, buddy.
Okay.
I was talking to my family the other day that we cannot say the Liberty without you saying Bibberty behind it.
I can't. I got to do it.
And I'll be done. All right, sir. Well, there is some news in the world of sports today. We'll start off with some good news. By the way, Trevor Bauer update. It looks like, Scott, he was going to be out longer than a week as they continue to sort things out. So
a week was a suggestion, but it seems to be a lot longer than that.
Plan accordingly. If you're Dodgers backer, if you're looking at Dodgers futures, again, factor Bauer being out for a little while longer. So keep an eye on that. We'll keep you updated if there's any news that breaks there. But Scott, a little better news in the world of NBA. Nate McMillan, they took the interim tag off of him today. He got a 4-year extension. He did a nice job. He's coached 13 years in the NBA already. Seattle, Portland, and help me. Orlando, Indiana. Exactly. 3 years in Indiana. So, Scott, they're going to give away the Coach of the Year award, or they already did it. Thibodeau got it.
Yeah.
Did they short McMillan, and should he be eligible even though he came in November?
I'm trying to think of what place McMillan came in. I know Monty Williams was second. I know Doc Rivers finished, I believe, top 4.
When did he come? No, he didn't come in because they didn't start till December.
I was going to say, I know that McMillan got some votes. I don't know what place he officially came in the final tally, but whatever it was, he was too low. Now, You could talk about either McMillan being great or Lloyd Pierce being terrible. Could be a mix of both, but that's the thing we talked about in the past, which is that awards in the regular season are regular season awards for a reason because they don't include the playoffs. And I think if you can agree, if the postseason it was included in these award shows, Thibodeau wouldn't have won, would have gone to Monty Williams. So I don't think McMillan would have won anyway. But he definitely had one of the best seasons from any coach during the past couple of months. I'd probably put him second behind Monty Williams, including playoffs.
Yeah, Monty Williams got 45 first-place votes. Thibodeau got 43.
Yeah, Thibodeau won with less first-place votes, which I still find kind of insane, but still.
Nate McMillan got 0 first, 0 second, got 12 thirds. So he was 5th.
Okay. The point is he still got some recognition from some people.
He was behind Doc Rivers, Scott. That's embarrassing, right?
Well, I said Rivers, I remember, was being top 4, but that was because the Sixers had the number 1 record in the East. So a lot of it was regular season based, which makes sense. But we've talked about it before.
Well, okay, go ahead.
I think they need to add another set of awards for postseason play.
Agreed. But you can't – I kind of get it why you don't have the award based on postseason as well, because you're obviously going to eliminate –
it ruins the sample size of the regular
over half the coaches.
Yeah. It also
And
eliminates like 90% of the games if you're going to factor everything in based on a 4-7 playoff series compared to, in most seasons, 82 regular season games.
so let me ask you, can you make the argument that you shouldn't be coach of the year if you don't take your team to the playoffs in the NBA or, really any league for that? They've expanded it enough where everyone that has any kind of a successful season should be able to make the playoffs.
I would say no, because I know baseball is a different sport, but Trout's won the MVP and he's only made the playoffs once. He's never won a playoff game. Yet he's won the MVP all the time. He's always a top 3 finalist. I know baseball is a lot more different, but it's a slippery slope when you look too heavily at team success. Like you can look at Connor McDavid in hockey. He was unanimous. He won the award. Nobody else got a first place vote. And how'd that go? He didn't win a playoff game.
Well, I mean, obviously an individual player is a little different situation in the playoffs, though, because
You're talking about solely coach of the year?
right.
Okay,
right.
I thought you were talking about awards in general. Okay,
No,
never
I'm
mind.
talking about coach of the year because, I mean, you can make a case that Trout should be the MVP and the Angels have no pitching and nobody to hit around him.
Yeah.
And that's not his fault. But you couldn't make a case for, Joe Madden to be manager of the year because the Angels went from, 30 under 500 to 15 under 500. That's kind of my point.
I mean, when it came down to it, do I think a team who was projected to be garbage, let's say Detroit, who was supposed to be one of the worst teams in the league, ended up winning the draft lottery, but they had the second worst record in the league.
Right.
Let's say Dwayne Casey brought Detroit, who was projected to be a bottom 2 team by everybody, and they ended up being the 10 seed in the East. They didn't make it to any of the play-in games. They didn't make it to any of the whatever. Would he have gotten any consideration at all? My answer would be probably not.
No.
Would I have given him consideration? Sure, in this hypothetical situation. But in reality, you got to have something to show for it.
Well, okay, Scott. Let's talk about Detroit, but we're going to go to a different sport. Let's talk about the Detroit Tigers. So, if the Detroit Tigers currently in 3rd place in the AL Central, I think both of us would agree that's a surprising development.
Definitely.
So, if they hold that position, if the Tigers end up finishing 3rd, maybe they go 75
and 87.
75 and 87, somewhere in that neighborhood. Can you make a case for AJ Hinch as manager of the year?
You could if the Giants weren't in first place with Gabe Kapler as their manager.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I think Kapler, that's kind of the elephant in the room we're not talking about.
I haven't seen odds on that, but whatever it is, Kapler better be favored.
No, because basically Kapler took the Detroit Tigers and has them in first place with the best record in baseball.
And people thought last year, including myself, was a fluke when they ended up with the extended playoff format, missing out by losing the regular season finale.
Right.
So people didn't think they were going to do it again, and I didn't think they would, especially in that division. But the Giants, I know they lost to the Cardinals yesterday, but Kapler's got to be favored. So in most situations, I'd say Hinch should probably finish top 3 if the Tigers keep it up.
Right.
Is he going to win the award? Of course not, because most people in general don't feel comfortable voting for a coach whose team wasn't good enough to be in the top 10 in the league.
Right.
In most seasons.
Yeah, that's kind of my point. No matter how good they do with an underachieving team, can you really make a case that they should be manager of the year if they don't make the postseason?
No, but to go back to my point in basketball, we did it for the bubble. We named Damian Lillard the bubble MVP. We did a couple of other awards and bubble teams and stuff like that. Give me some postseason awards. It can't hurt you.
So you're talking about just for the entire playoffs?
Yeah, entire playoffs, not just the NBA Finals MVP. Like leading up to the finals, just give me a recap of who's the MVP. You can even break it down conference by conference. Who cares? You can even milk it for the NBA. Have another award show nobody ever watches.
They do it in hockey. They give away awards for everything in hockey.
I love it.
Best stadium popcorn. Oh yeah, it's always got somebody's name.
Do you have an issue? Do you have an issue?
Johnson Award.
Well, those are regular season awards, but the point is that in general, do you have an issue with giving more players recognition? I don't have an issue with that.
Oh, I don't know. I don't care.
Correct. I figured why not? You can just make up a couple more awards, claim that some players are worth bigger contracts, blah, 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 and who cares? You might sell a couple extra jerseys from it.
There you go. All right. So right now, I think we agree that absolutely no question about manager of the year, right?
It's Gabe Kapler.
Has to be. People in Philadelphia are shaking their heads.
Unless they totally implode and miss the playoffs, he should be guaranteed to finish top 2.
I would think so. Yeah, as long as they make the playoffs, he's got to win it. That's it.
Even the wild card. Don't even have to make the playoffs, just the wild card in general.
A wild card is making the playoffs.
Correct, but you know what I mean, like into the actual bracket per se.
I get it. No, I agree. Scott, speaking of the NL East there with Philadelphia, is that turning into a great race or what?
It's a great race of ineptitude. I feel like I'm watching the NL East. It's the NL East with the NFC East. You can just merge the entire areas together because first to 500 wins. Is that kind of how it's going?
No, Mets are 7 over. Nobody else is over 500.
Yeah, the Mets are 7 over for now. We'll see if they collapse again in September like they have in the past.
And I know you know the answer to this. Which team leads the division in run differential?
It's the Marlins.
It's the Marlins.
And how are they doing in the standings?
Yeah, they're last place. They're 11 under.
Fantastic. I'm sure yesterday's 1-run win really helped out that run differential.
It tells you how bad that offense is.
It's awful. But the point is that there are a lot of teams in the division that are flawed. Atlanta's one of them. Philly's got no bullpen. They got masked because the Cubs' bullpen was so bad yesterday, but they still gave up a couple runs there in the last 2 innings.
Right.
And the Mets have been good enough, but the Mets are shockingly the sturdiest team in that division, which I'm sure nobody said about the Mets in probably, I don't know, since 1980 something.
Right.
Or maybe like the early 2000s with Piazza and company, but they're reliable, and that's something you can't say about the other teams in that division.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I liked them yesterday against the Brewers, and I said I like the first 5 under there, and the Mets, they find a way. They're good at home.
Cubs and Cardinals done?
Cubs are definitely done. We said during the division breakdown months ago that they were going to blow it up at the All-Star break, and it seems like they're going to be probably shipping off Baez or Rizzo or Bryant or all 3.
Well, I think the statement we can agree with is that they don't. They're making a mistake.
They've lost 10 in a row, so
Yep.
I don't really know what you're looking for besides the fact that maybe you need a new manager. But,
Well, I mean, they're frustrated because they're only a game under 500 and they're 8.5 back. They're still within striking distance if they don't just absolutely poop the bed here in the last week before the All-Star break. But if they
sounds like the Yankees.
If they hit the All-Star break 10 games back, yeah, done.
Isn't that the same situation the Yankees are in?
Yeah, just about. The Yankees are 1 game over 500. They're 10 back right now, Boston. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to see much more daylight between me and Boston if I'm the Yankees there. You go down a dozen games at the break, they're not coming back from that.
But you're looking at them. The Cardinals maybe have a gear, but at the end of the day, we talked about them yesterday, which means they're probably going to win 8 in a row because we brought about how they're basically done, which means they're going to go on some massive run. But no, I don't really like that team. I will give them a little bit of hope if Flaherty goes on some absurd second half surge like he kind of had in the first half before he got injured. Maybe he can be the piece, the ace they need to maybe go on 3 days rest a couple of times. But no, the offense isn't good enough.
Yeah, there's some surprising teams that are keeping it close. The Blue Jays, no surprise there. The Tigers are in 3rd in the Central. The Mariners are in 3rd in the West.
Well, the Tigers are in 3rd, but the White Sox, let's be real, they should run away with this thing. They
should. They're the best team in the division, but they're 10 and they're 10.5 up on Detroit, 6 up on the Indians.
Yeah.
Mariners in 3rd place in the West. Nationals in 3rd place in the East.
That's a sleeper candidate for Manager of the Year. You got to look at Seattle.
Yeah, that's also true. And the Padres in 3rd place in the West, Scott, team that a lot of people thought were the best team in baseball.
So. Are they a wild card team right now? I think so.
Yes, they're still 14 over.
You know how good that would be? Dodgers Padres 1 game winner take all wild card game. That is so good.
And that's the way that it's setting up right now. We get 2 wild card teams or 3? 2, right?
We get 2.
Yeah, it's absolutely. And we talked about at the beginning of the season that there was a very good chance that both wild card teams were coming out of the West.
Yeah.
Certainly at least one of them. But we didn't. We didn't think it was going to be the Giants.
We didn't think the Giants would avoid it by being in 1st place at this point in time.
I did also not think the Arizona Diamondbacks were going to be 40 under.
I thought they were going to be bad. I know you kind of held out a little bit of hope on them, but I didn't think they'd be good.
I held a little hope for not finishing in the cellar.
I thought they'd lose in 90 games. I didn't think they'd lose 100 and potentially 40, but
they may lose.
At the end of the day,
They may lose 90 games by August 1st.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't have that plan, but I thought they would probably be hovering around 80-something and 90-something losses.
Yeah, another one of those 23-game road losing streaks. They're in a world of trouble. So,
Yep.
All right, bud. You and I whiffed on the hockey yesterday.
Time out. I said I like.
You didn't whiff as bad as I did. You whiffed a little.
I said Montreal would keep it close, and the final score would be 3-2. However, I said Tampa would win 3-2 at an exact price of 10-1, and they blew a 4-minute power play overlapping between the third period and overtime. So I was right there. It unfortunately did not work out, but yeah, you want to do the honors on this one?
Well, yeah, we'll talk a little bit about it. Well, first of all, I want to talk about the 4-minute power play because we talked about this in our pregame about why it was 4 minutes. And this is a rule that I didn't know. I'm obviously playing catch up when it comes to hockey. I've admitted that many times.
It was warranted.
But it's a 2-minute penalty. What was it for tripping, high sticking? High sticking. Okay, so high sticking 2 minutes. But because he drew blood, it's an extra 2 minutes.
It deserved to be 4 minutes. He almost took his eye out.
Did he really?
A massive cut going down from around right above his eye all the way down to the bridge of his nose.
Well, what constitutes a 5-minute major then, Scott?
A 5-minute major is something that I would say there's no hockey intent whatsoever. The guy just decides to hit somebody for no reason at all. You can make an argument in this case that he was trying to lift his stick because the puck was near the guy, and then he accidentally clipped him in the face. So he didn't just try to slash the guy right in the eye. It just happened by somewhat accident, but it was extremely dangerous, where a 5-minute major would be at no point was he making a hockey play. He just tried to injure the guy.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So, yeah, the Canadians won it in overtime, 3-2. I will totally cop to that. You came very close to making an extremely good call and very, very close. They hit the post twice.
You had a nice hedge there if you wanted to hedge in overtime because if Tampa was going to win, it was going to be 3-2. Now
right.
It's 10-1.
Yep. Yeah, you absolutely were hedgeable there. So now they got the first one. You obviously can't win 4 straight if you don't win the first one. Is there any chance in hell, Scott, that the Canadiens can rattle off 3 more wins before Tampa Bay picks up 1?
Well, I would say no, except there's an all-time jinx brewing that we're going to get to in a little bit. So I'm going to say maybe. You know, we talked about on air, though, yesterday how 16-1 was still too low of a price. I still agree with that. I think 16-1 was ridiculous, and I am curious what the price is going to be now. I don't know if they've actually posted some of the lines yet. I can check briefly. But the point is, I am curious if 16-1 was too low. I am wondering if down 3-1 is suddenly going to look more accurate to where it should be. I think at just first opinion, 3-1 comeback should be around, I would say 10-1, 12-1. I feel like that's where maybe I would consider doing it. Then again, you could also just compare that price to whatever a 3-game moneyline parlay would be and discuss what you think would be more valuable. What do you think this price should be? I think it should be around 10-1.
Well, I mean, realistically, if you wanted to go by historical odds, how often have someone in the NHL come back from 3-zip?
Unlike other sports, it has happened numerous times. Never in the Stanley Cup final.
Okay.
At least as far as I know, but it has happened in the playoffs in the past. So it's not just baseball where you can merge that with basketball and say it's happened one time in 100. No, it's happened a couple of times in the NHL, especially within the last millennium.
Has it happened 1 out of every 10 times?
1 out of every 10, I would say no.
Okay. Well, then it sounds like to me the odds are not good.
I didn't say they were good. I'm just saying that they were.
I'm
just saying if they were 16-1 after Game 3, I'm assuming they'd be 10-1 after Game 4. Don't you think?
Yeah, that seems right. Now, if you talked about if you wanted to play a money line parlay, the next
they're gonna be dogs in every game. It doesn't even matter.
Well, it does matter because you got to have them be substantial dogs to get to 10-1.
No, but I'm saying you don't have to worry about the Canadians randomly catching momentum and being favored. No, they're going to be underdogs in every game.
They might be small dogs in Game 6
but they will never be favored in the series.
No, because the only game at home is Game 6. They're not going to be favored in that one. They could be, plus 130, 135, something like that.
Now, for Tampa in the next game, they're minus 220. So you already have a plus 184 price there for FanDuel.
Well, and I've got some better prices around if you look. But yeah, there's some 90s out there, some plus 190s.
So if you want to maybe guesstimate plus 190, plus 140, plus 180, is that fair?
What'd you say? Plus 180 for the last one?
Yeah, give or take. I think it would be lower than it would be for Game 5, but I still think Tampa would be big favorites.
Well, let's take a look here. So we go 190. Would you say 130 in the Game 6?
I said 190, 140, but maybe 135, something like that, and then 180 in Game 7.
I think that's high, but we'll run it at that and see what.
We'll run it. We can run at 170. The point is, it's going to be a decent favorite.
We'll go 190, 135, 180, and that's going to pay you 18 to 1.
Yeah, so you're better off just doing some open parlays, or even if you want to do a rollover parlay where you just straight bet every game individually on Montreal.
Right.
And you can take the winnings and just carry it over and see what happens. Probably a good way to save some money or even make some more money, because if you didn't realize, the books aren't doing you any favors giving you some of those series prices where they are the last playoff series or whatever, because I know people are going to always bet the dog in the situations. Those rollover parlays or just those general open parlays, good way of squeezing out an 18 to 1 instead of a 10 to 1.
Yep, absolutely. People say, well, I like betting futures because you don't pay juice on them.
Do me a favor, by the way. Can you take the three numbers that we had and add about plus 130, which is what they were tonight or last night,
and make it 4?
Yeah, make it 4. Because I said it was 16 to 1, and we said that was going to be way too low.
About 43 to 1.
Correct. So if you're taking 16 to 1, congratulations, you kind of played yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, the thing is, it requires some discipline and it requires some bravery, because when you hit the first 3 legs of that, and now you've got to put all your winnings down at plus 170 or so. That's a big boy play right there.
That's
I know
also the beauty of the rollover stuff, though, because you can hit the eject button anytime you want.
That's right. You can put a little sniff on it and lock up a hefty profit. No question about it. So we would highly advise, if you're going to play that way, if you think that the Canadians do have a shot at coming back, don't take the sucker long play. Play a game by game. Lock yourself up a little profit if you want to take a look. You want to take some dividends out and reinvest the rest, you can do that. It leaves you with a lot more flexibility and a lot more options.
And if you think there's no difference, we just compared a 16 to 1 bet before yesterday's game to what arguably would have been a 43 to 1 bet had you already started an open parlay or anything like that. So there's a huge difference there.
Huge difference. Huge difference. So, and by the way, I will say this: if anybody wants to do that and thinks that Montreal can win 3 games in a row over Tampa Bay, you should just send us that money. We'll have a big, I'll tell you what, I'll make a deal. Whatever you're going to spend, put half of it in your wallet, send the other half to us.
Tell you what, I said I felt that way, but we're going to get to why maybe the jinx might be a little bit on in this situation.
Could be. There could be the absolute jinx coming. But Scott, let's wrap it up. Talk a little golf. My God, we're going 5 sports today. Holy mackerel! It's
golf on a Tuesday. Who would have thought?
The match is tomorrow. Is today, Scott? Wednesday, right? Or Wednesday or Tuesday? So it goes Wednesday.
It's Tuesday.
Right?
It's Tuesday.
Okay, so the match is today. Bryson DeChambeau against Tom Brady and Phil Mickelson. Bryson, of course, teamed up with Aaron Rodgers. Spent the offseason working on his mental health. Good for him. And there's some substantial odds on DeChambeau and Aaron Rodgers, Scott. They're minus 182 favorites. You want to take the GOAT and Mickelson? How about plus 140? Coming back the other way. Now, Brady didn't play extremely well last time.
Hold out a chippy.
What's that?
He hold out a chippy.
He did hold out. But who do you like here?
I like Brady and Mickelson. I think this price is ridiculous. If you want to talk about Rodgers, who nobody really knows if he's good at golf or not, I'm pretty sure he has not played that often in the past year or so. I don't want to make a chemistry argument because that's just stupid between Brady and Mickelson. I don't think it matters. They played together before. But I do keep track of DeChambeau's recent form. Got rid of his caddy. Kind of struggled to make a couple of cuts. Fell apart in the U.S. Open in the 4th round about 2 weeks ago. Do you like the current form DeChambeau's in? Because I don't.
I don't. Do you think it matters?
I think it does. I think if you want to talk about Mickelson, who, even if you don't exactly like him as a golfer at this stage in his career, even though he did win a major a couple of weeks ago, he is still a very, very big gambler. So he's going to be very comfortable in this environment playing for money because Bryson, it's one thing if you want to compete in a tournament. It's another thing if you want to go 2v2 for about a 3-4 hour run there. I do kind of wonder if Bryson, based on recent form, might struggle and if Mickelson might outplay him. Because Mickelson, if you remember, was very good in the first one against Tiger. And I do think that Mickelson will rise to the occasion. But I'm also looking at the price. Rogers, who was working on mental health, I don't think he was exactly working on his golf game while addressing his mental health. He was vacationing with his, I don't remember if it was girlfriend or fiance, but the point is he was on vacation. And Bryson's been busy with his own personal stuff going on because his golf professionally has not gone too well for the last couple of weeks. So even if you think Bryson and Rogers will win, minus 180 or minus 175 is just way too high for me. I'll take the value with Brady and Mickelson.
I agree. I think anytime you've got unknown quantities like you do with Aaron Rodgers, I just don't see laying the number. I know that they're baking in the fact that they think DeChambeau is going to play better than Mickelson. I don't think that's a guarantee. Just like you said, Mickelson. DeChambeau is certainly not playing great golf right now. Scott, do you think he takes it seriously?
I think that they're going to try to. I do question if one of the teams goes down by a decent amount, if they feel the urgency to come back. But I do think there's some bragging rights being involved. At the end of the day, though, I'm just looking at the situation. If I had seen Rodgers with photos with his girlfriend / fiance on the golf course, maybe I would have been tempted to maybe look at Rodgers here as being a superior player to Brady and maybe playing well. He was vacationing for what, a month? I just don't really think that a guy who's been working on his mental health by vacationing is going to necessarily play a great round of golf, where Brady's not maybe good, but if he's been practicing, don't you think he has a little bit of an advantage?
Yeah, I would think so. Well, of course, Scott, you could take me. I could play golf every day, and it wouldn't matter. I would still suck at golf. So
that's definitely fair. But Brady, we've seen, is not very good. But at times, he can look decent. He got better as the match progressed.
What do you call Brady? A bogey golfer? About 90?
Give or take, yeah.
Is that an 18 handicap? Is that right?
Yeah, something like that. I was going to maybe give him like a 15 to 16 handicap, but same idea.
All right.
I don't think he's Romo Curry scratch golfer quality, but I think he's definitely okay. At the end of the day, though, plus 140 is definitely a good, I'd say, healthy price there if you want to take a dog.
You know where they're playing?
I actually do not. I forgot.
I did not know this. They're playing in Moonlight Basin in Big Sky, Montana.
I heard Montana is very nice this time of year.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think Lefty gets them hooked up before the match playing 25 grand a hole or something like that?
It's a good question. I would say no.
You think there's a little side skin on this? You don't?
I think there might be a little bit, maybe, but I think that's going to be Mickelson by his own.
Okay. I think Lefty gets him involved. I think they play.
Is it going to be covered on TNT?
Yes.
So I'm assuming he's just going to have a side bet with Barkley.
Probably. Yeah, it starts at 5:00 Eastern on TNT, so make sure you tune in there.
But Barkley loves to gamble too, so they're going to be extremely dangerous around each other if you're talking about in-hole betting.
I don't know what Barkley does can be considered gambling, because gambling implies you have a chance to win.
He used to be a huge table guy back in the day, playing blackjack and everything like that. So not even talking about the guarantee stuff with the sports books.
Yeah,
he's been gambling for a long time.
He's a terrible gambler. I've got stories about him. I've got stories about John Daly, and
I have a story about Charles Barkley too, because I met him in person. But it's a situation where the time I met him was about 10, 12 years ago or so, and I believe he was playing. It was either 5,000 a blackjack hand or 25,000 a blackjack hand, but he was with Derek Jeter at the time.
Where were you at 12 years old that you saw people playing blackjack for 25 grand a hand?
It was in the Bahamas. Michael Jordan used to have a golf tournament every single year during the summer. So I used to go just to hang out in the hotel, and you always had celebrities walking around. But I did walk up to the casino floor to the table, and I asked for some autographs while they were playing for about 5 to 25K, and nobody stopped me. And then I got out of there.
Did you get autographs?
I got autographs from Jeter. I did.
Barkley said, "Go away, boy."
I actually kind of forgot to ask Barkley. As a Yankees fan, when you're my age at that time, you just see Jeter and you kind of just block out everything else.
Very good. All right, Scott. Well, we've been teasing it all the way through, and it's time we talk about it. It is our fastest growing segment, one of the ones that we had the most fun with. Scott, it's time for the Daily Donkey. Here we go. I could honestly just let that play for about a minute.
It's really just a perfect soundbite.
It also sounds like a donkey doing bad things on a squeaky bed, so I'm not even sure what's going on there, but it's just one of my favorite sound effects. So, Scott, I know you've got a daily dummy, a daily donkey. Who is it, Scott?
It's going to be somebody political, which I know sounds a bit dangerous, and especially for our flagship station there in Tampa. We got to roast the mayor.
Both sides of the aisles can agree on this one, Scott.
We got to roast the mayor. We're going to roast Tampa Bay Mayor Jane Castor for some questionable comments she made before Game 4 yesterday. She said publicly that she wanted the Lightning to lose Game 4 in Montreal so they could win the Stanley Cup in Game 5 at home. Now, there are a couple of different factors here. A, that's just stupid because the parade's going to be in Tampa Bay anyway, so you might as well try to win the thing as quickly as possible. So, B, there's a potential jinx factor to it because if you lose Game 5, suddenly there's a bit of danger, and it's a little bit of bulletin board material there. If you're looking at Montreal's perspective, where the mayor of the other team, a city, is basically telling them, you know what, we're going to win no matter what, so might as well do it on our own terms. And C, you kind of have a bit of a tropical storm coming towards Tampa.
Bit of a tropical storm coming.
Are we sure the game's going to actually get played on schedule, like on time? And don't you have other stuff of preparation to actually do leading up to the tropical storm in comparison to talking about the Lightning on a nationally televised press conference?
No,
a lot of layers to this.
I did see some of her tweets, and I did see some information about, everybody stay safe and stick to your evacuation plans and all that. But
having said that, Lightning in 5. Like, I just feel like it was definitely not a great time to do that, especially with the tropical storm. It would be stupid anyway, just to tell your own team, listen, we're going to win this no matter what, because that's the last thing you want to do, especially just for jinxing purposes. But the timing with the tropical storm as well, I just feel like it was kind of distasteful, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. No question about it. And this is a storm that is not going to be, it's going to be a tropical storm. It's not going to be a hurricane, but it's still going to be.
It was supposed to be a hurricane, but it got downgraded.
It got downgraded. So it's still going to be a lot of wind, 65, 70 mile an hour winds. You're going to have rain. In fact, they canceled the Tampa Bay game for tonight.
That was the Rays game, yes.
Due to the tropical storm. So I'm trying to look at the forecast here.
That would be an all-time jinx if you say we're going to win this in the arena and then they can't even play the game in the arena. That'd be an all-time jinx, don't you think?
Right. And Scott, it looks like to me, I'm looking at the Weather Channel right here, and it looks like it is supposed to roll over Tampa about 8 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday night.
Fantastic.
So there's a good chance the Lightning may be a little busy trying to not get overwhelmed by the tropical storm. I can't imagine that game being played.
Everybody stay safe in case we lose power. Everybody, react accordingly. #Lightning in 5. That belongs on a T-shirt right there. I just made that up, but that's basically the gist of what she was talking about.
Yeah, you could just put that. You could put Lightning in 5 on the back.
Just anything. Something tropical storm warning, #Lightning in 5. Like 2 separate tweets on like a phone screen. Warning, tropical storm in area. Right below it, mayor says lightning in 5. That's just such an all-time just gaffe. Even if they win the Stanley Cup, they might not even play the game in your arena. Like, come on. You got to be better.
Yeah, I don't get it. And here's the deal, Scott. She was a big-time athlete in college. She was a volleyball and basketball player.
You got to know about the jinxing rules.
She's like right. That's my point. It's not somebody that's, been buried. She's a history major and, never doesn't do sport ball or what. No, she's in the Florida Hall of Fame for sports. Come on. You know better than that. I want to see them lose so they can win it. Come on. Stop that. So she happens to be a Democrat, but whether you're a Democrat, whether you're a Republican, I think we can all come together on this and admit that that was an absolutely ridiculously stupid thing to do.
It's one of the dumbest things I've seen from a former athletic politician.
Yeah, absolutely true. So lightning in 5.
Yep.
All right. Well, very good, Scott. It's yeah, it looks like it's going to be quite a Tuesday and Wednesday as far as the tropical storm goes. So good luck, everybody in Tampa. Do stay safe.
I'm curious if they're going to potentially either wait it out, or do you think they might move it to maybe the Panthers arena?
No.
Do you think they're just going to wait it out?
Where do the Panthers play out of where?
I'm trying to remember exactly, but the point is that the stadium that the Lightning use might be non-operational. So I'm curious if they'll just delay it for a couple of days because it is a Stanley Cup and you do have some TV rating stuff and some TV scheduling stuff. Do you think they might find a temporary venue instead?
No.
I got to assume no because ticket prices and all this other stuff. But I'm just asking. I do think it's going to be a very interesting development. Closest thing I could think of, earthquake in the Athletic series.
Yep, the earthquake in the Golden Gate series, the Bay Series.
That's the closest I could think of for a natural disaster occurring in the title series.
Yeah, but the thing about that is that was a little different because tropical storm, it blows through there, you get some down power lines, you maybe get a little local flooding, but the next day it's over.
Yeah.
But in San Francisco, the Bay Bridge collapsed. So
I just kind of meant the general idea.
You're right, of a natural disaster occurring in the middle of the finals. Yeah, that's it doesn't happen very often. It absolutely does not. So good luck to everybody. By the way, the Florida Panthers play right outside of Miami. They play in Sunrise, Florida.
Okay.
So they're down in the Miami area. So Scott, we do have tonight a game that should not be affected by tropical storms. It has you don't get a lot of those in the desert. It's the Milwaukee Bucks and the Phoenix Suns in Game 1. They're in the Valley of the Sun, Scott. Suns 6-point favorite in this one. We haven't seen that line go up much, even though we talked about it last night. It was they kind of hedged it as they had baked in that Giannis probably was maybe going to give it a shot, but he looks doubtful for this one. He hasn't been ruled officially out, but it looks like he is not going to play, at least in Game 1. Line hasn't moved yet. I think you and I both expect some additional line movement here, maybe 6.5 or 7 by game time. Is that pretty close to what you're thinking?
Yeah, I think it'll probably go to 7.
Okay. I think that's right. So that's a big task because that Phoenix Suns team is playing very good basketball right now, Scott. With Giannis in the fold at 100%, the Bucks were going to have their hands full. Can this new look Bucks team that seems to be a little more efficient on offense but struggles on defense without Giannis, they're going to have anything for the Suns?
I think offensively they can. I think the team total is too low for Milwaukee at about 105.5, and I like the over. Now, I'm not sure how much of the regular season meetings you can actually draw from because Giannis played in those games, and he's not going to play in this one, or most likely. But both games, pretty high scoring. You just want to talk about pace. One game went to overtime at 128, 127. That game only had 23 points in overtime, so you still had a very high-scoring regulation performance there.
Right.
And the game before that had 249 with no overtime involved. Total in this one, 218. Milwaukee's offense without Giannis has been pretty good. I like the over. I think this total's too low.
So you're looking at 232 and 249 in regulation in those two games.
Now, of course, Giannis played in those, but you can talk about how Milwaukee's defense struggled regardless.
Well, and the Holiday missed one of them.
Correct. So I still like the over. Milwaukee, we talked about without Giannis arguably being better offensively. Okay. And we had the team total. I did it at least for Game 6 against Atlanta. And Phoenix has been very good offensively in just general. But Milwaukee, in the first game of their series, has really not been great. Against Miami, ended up going to overtime, barely won. Got killed by the Nets, lost at home to Atlanta, and got torched by Trae Young for 48 in that game. I do have question marks about Milwaukee's defense in the spot, so I like the over. I think you'll see points.
Okay, I'm with you. I think the over is probably the play there. And you have a thought on the side?
For the side, I do think 7's too many points. Now it is 6.5. I will wait for Giannis to be ruled out because I think you will see some panic overreaction from that, even though it's already partially baked in. I think 7's too many points. Now Phoenix, I think, is the better team because they're more at full strength. But Milwaukee without Giannis has looked pretty sharp. And I do think that based on how these teams played against each other, I think it's going to be close. Now, I don't think Milwaukee's going to win, but I'd rather deal with the total instead of the side. I'll take the over.
Okay, I've got a premium on the side, so I'm going to defer on that one. But I do like the over. I think that without Giannis, this is a Bucks team that's going to have to really kind of step on the gas, I think, to keep up with the Suns. So
I agree.
All right, very good, Scott. Well, we've hit the ground running. It's time for baseball, and hey, we're back to our old habits. It's baseball time, everybody. Got about 5 minutes.
Great.
Oh, Scott, we got some interesting pitching matchups tomorrow. You got your boy Jake DeGrom going. He's on the mound, and I don't know what else you see here.
Well, looking blindly at just the prices, I got it like Detroit, plus 158. Now, Urena stinks. I'm not going to try to pretend he's any good. But Detroit, we've talked about, and how this team, despite being pretty underwhelming as a whole, over the last couple of weeks, this team has randomly been pretty good. And Texas, once again, is laying a huge favored price, and I feel like this is deja vu. They talked about this yesterday. Texas should never be laying this price. I'll take Detroit.
Yeah, that's just a flat value play right there. And yeah, if you look around, you can find Texas, you can find Detroit as much as plus 170.
I can't say no to that.
No, you can't. This is a Detroit team that's won 4 of their last 5. They're playing decent baseball. Scott, I don't know if we mentioned or not. They're in 3rd place.
Yep,
3rd place. And Urena, yeah, not ideal. He has really struggled his last 4 starts, Scott. So we'll see. But again, you're going against Dane Dunning. You're not going to get a lot of length out of him. If you get 5 out of Dunning, that's a fantastic day. And then you get the Texas Rangers bullpen involved.
I like the over in that game as well.
I don't think that's a terrible play either. So yeah, I think there will be some. I think yes, there will be runs in that one as well. Scott, I've got to look at the what was I looking at here?
Rockies? Question mark.
I always. The Rockies on the road, I've faded Merrill Kelly at my peril for.
I don't know where you were going with that, so I was just trying to guess.
I'll tell you where I was going. I was going with what is ultimately going to be our bet the farm play.
Oh, so it's a good thing I interrupted.
We needed to talk about that game. Like, no, we don't. No, so I was looking for something else that caught my attention.
I like the Brewers team total under 2.5 against DeGrom. Brewers have scored 2 runs in the last 2 games combined. DeGrom got shelled in the first inning against Atlanta in the last start, and then he retired about 18 in a row. Milwaukee's offense, we know, stinks, and the Mets bullpen really good at home. There's a good chance the Brewers might only score 1 run in this game.
We got burned as far as the premium play on the LA Dodgers Miami under yesterday. I'm tempted to take another swing at it as Gonzalez goes against Pablo Lopez.
Lopez is good, man.
They're the big 3 there with Rogers, Alcantara, and Lopez. I'll put him up against any 3 starters in the majors.
RIP Sixto would have been a very nice 4th option had he not.
They were talking about him getting close, Scott, and then I haven't heard anything about it. But he
got ruled out for the year yesterday.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
Did he have a setback?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a shame because they actually had him thrown off of a mound and looked like
I told you how much I liked him going into the year, so yeah. It's a shame.
I guess I should dump him from my fantasy team because I've been hanging on to him all season.
Yep, my bad.
Oh no, we both loved Sixto last year.
Yep, very good.
Certainly a possibility. If you wanted to play the under in that game, I ain't mad at you because you keep pounding the Miami Marlins under with one of those 3 pitchers pitches. You're going to make money. May not win it every day, but that is a solid play all the way around. I do like, and as of our recording here, we still don't have a number on this. So, and they don't have a pitcher, but the Toronto-Baltimore matchup, I think that is something to look at there as far as the Toronto Blue Jays. I really like the way they're playing right now. I know Baltimore's been randomly good lately, but they haven't been playing Toronto. So,
yep.
We don't love Mats, but I think you could be getting a decent price there on the Blue Jays. So I would say, what would you play that up to, Scott, with a random terrible Baltimore starter?
Are we talking about just money line purpose or run line?
Minus 180, get that run line down to 110, 115 or
Yeah,
something.
I would say my top would probably be 175.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's about right. Anything else that you like here?
No, not really, besides the one game we're about to talk about.
Well, let's do it then, Scott. We've been teasing it long enough. I know everybody wants to know what it is. If you guys had to bet just one bet today, everybody says, what would you play? What would be the one game if you had to put it all in the middle? If you had to cash all your chips on one play, what would it be? Scott, I believe we've come up with one. You and I have put our heads together. We've taken a look at all the games, and we've come up with our favorite play. Get ready. Put your straw hats on. Climb up on that tractor, folks. It is time for Bet the Farm. All righty, Bessie. What do you got for us today? We're going to take a look, Scott, in Kansas City as those red-hot Kansas City Royals take on the Cincinnati Reds. This game is being played at Kauffman Stadium there in Kansas City. And it's going to be Bubic for the Royals against Luis Castillo for the Cincinnati Redlegs. Scott, we like the first 5 run line. This is a Kansas City team that is not playing good baseball right now. They've lost 9 of their last 11. Meanwhile, Cincinnati picked up the win yesterday against the Royals. That one ran their winning streak to 5 straight. And Castillo, I know a lot of people wrote him off after the beginning of the season, but he has been very good over his last 7. 2.30 ERA, 1.12 whip. And Bubic, Scott, tried to make the move on the big lefty out of the pen, and it has not gone well. He's been much better in the Royals bullpen than he has as a starter. He gets a 5.82 ERA as a starter. And here's a fun stat, Scott. He has lost his last 3 starts by a combined 24 runs. Congratulations. The Cincinnati pen is one that we are afraid of. They are much better on the road. Playing first 5, good chance we won't see them. Good chance if you see the Cincinnati pen in the first 5, probably not winning that bet. But I look for Castillo to give us some distance. He's been able to complete 6 most times. Bubic, on the other hand, not a guy with a lot of length. He has not completed 5 innings since May the 28th. Look for that exciting adventurous Royals bullpen to get involved in this one, possibly in the 5th inning. I just think everything points to another dominating Cincinnati win. I think they score early. I think they score often. If you want to take the Reds full game, don't hate that. Want to take the Reds team total over, don't hate that. But the play we like the best is the Cincinnati Reds and the Kansas City Royals. The Reds, first 5 run line.
Yeah, I think the Reds should probably score at least 3 in the first 5, which should get you more than enough in this spot.
Yeah, this is a Kansas City team that will randomly break through for a few runs against bad pitchers, but for the most part, they have really kind of been stuck in neutral or reverse as far as their run scoring goes. And they're starting to bring up some younger guys, Scott. So I think the Royals are pretty much waving the white flag at this point. So let's bet the farm on the Cincinnati Reds first 5, shall we?
Yep, sounds good.
All right, very good. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this Monday edition, or excuse me, for the Tuesday edition of Winners and Winers Radio. We appreciate you guys listening as always. Wish you best of luck on all of your plays. Hope every one of those tickets in your pocket turns into cash money when you head back to the window. For myself and for Scott Reichel, we want to say thanks for listening. And hey, tune in tomorrow because we do this every day. So we'll see you next time on Winners and Winers Radio. Take care, everybody.